If you've been watching this channel or my main channel, Control-Alt-Reese, for any length of time, you will no doubt be well aware that I am a massive Atari fan. It's something that started when I was a kid. My very first gaming experience was on the 2600 Junior, which would have been around 1989, I think. And then I got my own Atari STE in 91. Very lucky kid indeed. And it's a brand that's always stuck with me and something that I've always kind of covered. And I want to increase that coverage in 2025 as part of my improved, my bigger focus on YouTube as a thing. So make sure you are subscribed to this and my main channel, Control-Alt-Reese, if you don't want to miss out on all of that. But as mentioned, it's a love affair that started at a very early age. And I'm actually really liking what the current iteration of Atari are doing. Not so much the crypto stuff that they were trying to do a few years ago, but it seems that thankfully they have kind of wound that down a little bit and focused more on the kind of the recreations of the retro hardware and stuff like that. So the 2600 Plus, which was absolutely fantastic, the 7800 Plus, which I reviewed on my main channel, and they're also doing some other interesting bits of merchandise and bits and bobs. One thing that I think is well worth mentioning is the whiskey decanter set, which my wife very kindly bought for me for Christmas. And we did get this out on New Year's Eve, but unfortunately we ended up drinking so much wine that by the end of the night, whiskey seemed like a very ill-advised idea. So still waiting to try this out. But yeah, they're doing all sorts of weird and wonderful things, and it's really great to see. And this time last year, here on the second channel, I did a video talking about their current range of consoles and some new upcoming hardware that they announced for 2024. And there has been quite a big update on one of these consoles, so that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. This is the it was known at the time as the GameStation Portable, but has since been announced that it's going to be called the GameStation Go. And this is noteworthy because of its rather interesting selection of controls. But first, I'll talk a little bit about the company that makes this. So this is My Arcade, and they are known for their range of little miniature arcade machines and things like that. Officially licensed stuff with Namco and Atari and other companies like that. There's an officially licensed Tetris pocket console I can see on the website here. A little I quite like that. I do like a bit of pole position. Yeah, pole position arcade machine. I don't own any of their stuff. This is something that I definitely need to rectify in 2025, I think. If the channel gets big enough that I can justify stuff like this. But yeah, they're probably the biggest and most expensive and best known Atari product is their GameStation Pro. So this is a TV console with some really interesting looking joystick controllers. It's got these funky looking RGB lights. The joystick controllers have got built-in spinners, which is quite cool to support some of Atari's old arcade games and stuff like that. And it has over 200 built-in games covering various Atari consoles from the past, and you can plug it into your modern TV using HDMI. And it's got all the stuff that you would expect from a modern SoC emulator, software emulator based console, which is very nice. And finally, the one other thing from them that I just want to mention just before we talk about this GameStation Go is their Atari 50 range. So yeah, My Arcade are known for their little miniature arcade machines and handhelds, so it was inevitable that they would do a range of those for Atari's 50th anniversary. And these are really cool looking things as well. So you've got the micro player, the nano player, and the pocket player, which play a range of mainly Atari 2600 games, VCS games, I guess it's fair to say. But that's kind of what this company is predominantly known for. Of course, Atari don't manufacture their own hardware nowadays. It's all kind of outsourced to external companies like PlayOn, for example, who did the 2600 Plus and the 7800 Plus. And they've partnered with a well-known and kind of well-respected console maker for this one as well. So I am expecting it to be, again, quite a decent product. So yesterday they dropped this video, this preview for CES 2025. So this thing is actually going to be officially released at CES this year, and CES starts on the 7th of January, which is just in a few days' time. So we're finally going to be able to get our hands on this thing and see some actual proper reviews and things. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the hardware and just refresh your memory on this, because this thing is really cool. I really love what they've done with this. So for a start, in this teaser video on the My Arcade channel, we can see the controls. And I've just paused it here so we can have a closer look. This is a spinner on the left-hand side, and then there's a D-pad and a trackball. So yeah, Atari's games, of course, are probably best known for their arcade stuff, I guess. I mean, obviously the arcade side of the company and the home computing, home gaming stuff were kind of separate entities for most of Atari's existence. But obviously their arcade stuff, they've got all these classic, spinner games using the, rotary controller. Obviously starting with Pong, I guess, was the first. And then we've got stuff like, Breakout, stuff like that over the years. And a trackball. And you think, well, why on earth would you want a trackball controller? But of course, I mean, like Centipede, Missile Command. I mean, Missile Command, if you played the original arcade cam with that huge, stonking great trackball on it, it's such a fantastic thing. So seeing this, supporting those old games, presumably it will have hundreds of games built in. I don't think they have officially announced a lineup yet. That will be coming at CES. But yeah, being able to play those trackball games the way they were intended to be played with a trackball is very, very cool. On the back here, just kind of proceeding through this video, we've got the L1 and L2 buttons, and I presume R1 and R2 buttons on the other side, so your shoulder buttons. And this is the next interesting point. So this, as you can see, it's a numeric keypad. And this was something I had quite a lot to say about last year as well when they first unveiled this console. So, of course, the Atari Jaguar had a numeric keypad. I'm not quite sure if this thing's going to support Jaguar games. Of course, we've got the Big P EMU, as it's known nowadays, and I believe, in fact, there is definitely an ARM build for that. Presumably, this is running on an ARM system on a chip, so it would be really cool if we could see some Jaguar games running on this and supporting that with that keypad. And perhaps also, most famously, the 5200 console as well. Very underrated console in Atari's history. Also featured a numeric keypad on its controllers. So we've got the R1 and R2 buttons there, those shoulder buttons again. Nice close-up of the Atari logo. Again, we've got settings. We've got a credit button, so I guess this will be running some kind of arcade emulator, something similar to MAME, something like that, so you can actually insert credits to play the arcade games rather than having them kind of hacked and being on free play, stuff like that. Nice, authentic experience. Very good to see. You've got your usual X, Y, and A and B buttons, nothing particularly noteworthy there. I think Atari are probably best known for their one-button joystick stuff on most of their systems. The iconic CX40 joystick, of course, only had the one button. But we do have, on the subject of controllers here, there's a nice close-up of these controller ports. So these are USB-C. And as you can see, they've got pictures of little controllers next to them as well. So this is going to support external controllers. Will they be releasing a range of matching USB-C controllers? That would be really cool to see because, of course, you could buy those and presumably they would work with other systems as well. So, yeah, very excited about that. There was also an air vent in that shot. I don't know if you spotted that. So I'm guessing this thing is going to have a fan inside it, be air-cooled, which probably indicates perhaps a slightly higher-end SoC type system. I'm not quite sure. We have an SD card slot in the top, microSD. So, of course, hopefully it will support being able to add your own games. I don't see why not. It's got an HDMI port on the top, which looks like a full-size HDMI port. So you can hook it up to your TV and actually play your games on your TV. So similar deal to the Switch, I guess. You could use it as a handheld or as a TV console. And it's a really nice looking piece of hardware. I know My Arcade are known, as I mentioned, for making quite decent hardware. So I'm quite hopeful about this. It looks like a really nice thing just sat there on the stand. Nice big screen on there as well. It looks like that's potentially 16:9 aspect ratio rather than perhaps the 1:1 or 4:3 that you would have expected. Hopefully stuff is kind of scaled properly. It does make you wonder about some of the other potential features of this. So yeah, that is the GameStation Go. Very interesting looking little handheld console there, and looking forward to the official launch at CES in a few days' time. Hopefully some people will be getting their hands on with that, and it will be available immediately. But no further information on release date or games or supported systems or anything like that at the moment. So watch this space.